accurate. Maybe you should think about whether you should accept that
Absolutely.
post. Yeah.
I have a fellow who was visiting his mother in Italy, and she has this, in their estate planning there, you put the account in the names of all your children, and then when you die, the children divvy it up. So he's on the account with all his brothers and sisters,
Oh my God.
and he didn't
I
disclose
see
it.
people do the same here in the United States. These
Yeah,
families, old Italian families.
yeah, and it, here's one I got that's just breaking my heart. Man's about to get divorced, so he puts his money in an offshore account. It's all been taxed. In fact, he paid full income tax on all of it, and he has invested in California municipal bonds, and so it's all tax-free income.
Yes.
But he wants to hide it from his wife for the divorce purposes, and he's put it in an offshore account, and he forgot to disclose this. Well, it's millions and millions of dollars, and the penalty, $10,000 to $50,000 a year. And when the IRS says millions of dollars, by the way, if you do not disclose your interest in a trust, the penalty is 35% of the balance of the trust. And either way, when
And
you
sometimes
made the
the
transfer,
balance, I guess the minimum penalty is I guess it's 10,000 now, but they had somewhere that was actually based on the unreported amount, as I recall. Maybe that's the 30%.
yeah, right. That is exact. That's the 35/20. That's if you're the beneficiary of a foreign trust, and then the other 10,000 to 50,000 penalty is the FBAR.
Yeah.
So you could have set up a foreign trust where you're the trustee. You should have filed both returns. One, they'll take your money away from you, and the other one, they just fine you a big penalty. Now, if they think that this is previously unreported income, oh my gosh, they will take. They can take a lot of money out of that account. They might take 150% of the account. They can put you in jail. So that's a scary place. They're looking for the terrorists, the money launderers, the drug dealers. But the net is big enough that it catches a lot of people just aren't paying attention.
Okay. What should you do if you are late or haven't filed these forms?
Well, that's a scary one. You could just file a minute return, just file late filed return, just send them all in. That's called a soft disclosure.
Okay.
IRS doesn't like that. What they're saying is, you're going to sneak it past us. It'll
Yeah.
get into our system. We won't pay attention. Somebody will miss it. So if you do a soft disclosure, meaning you just file all these old late returns, send them all in, and just wish for the best, and
Yes.
maybe nothing happens.
Yes.
If they find it out, if they discover this, if it comes to their attention, they will assess all the penalties they can against you, including the criminal ones, is what they say. So what they want you to do is make a hard disclosure. A hard disclosure is you call up the IRS Criminal Enforcement Division and make a deal. And this is really where you should have a lawyer representing you,
Yes.
because a lawyer can call up on a no-name basis and say, here's my fact situation. My client totally inadvertently fell into this trap, and we want to file all the back returns. We don't want to pay any penalties. We don't want to go to jail. And the guy will say, sure.
Yeah, right. Well, like we said, there's going to be some begging and pleading.
There will be a process. They're
Yeah.
going to want to make sure, where did the money come from? Are you part of Al Qaeda? Are you a
Yeah.
drug dealer? Where did the money? How did it get to be there? And then why were you paying income tax on? Why weren't you? And how could you just inadvertently forget that you got $5 million in a Swiss bank? It doesn't. You got your fingers crossed. I mean, who's going to believe you? So that's not easy.
Okay, now let's say I get a letter from the IRS asking about whether I should file one of these forms. What should I do?
Well, if the IRS thinks that you should be filing, you're under investigation. You're in a lot of trouble now, because it's probably, you're going to have to move very quickly, certainly within 30 days, if you want to come forward and confess and beg for any kind of mercy, including not going to jail. So you may have to move quickly, or feed it to your dog. And, convince them later the dog ate the notice, which I do not recommend. That's not good tax advice. I'm kidding about that. But I'd say that you shouldn't ignore it. You shouldn't ignore the notice, and you should find out what triggered it, what's going on. Was the account at the Union Bank of Switzerland? There is a subpoena that still has not been satisfied, but the IRS has been very specific. They only want accounts that had a high water balance of $1 million or more, no W-9 filed, and that the actual transactions, the sale transactions, were more than $100,000, 100,000 Swiss francs of gain, assuming every sale, 50% of it was gain. So if you meet all three of those tests, high water over $1 million, gains over 100,000, and no W-9 form, which is your taxpayer identification, that information will be turned over to the IRS. And none of that's gone over yet, except for the 52 people we know about where it was absolutely just pretty serious fraud.
Okay. But something has happened that it got to their attention in order to send you this in the first place.
Yeah, yes, and that's what's interesting is why did you get a notice from the IRS that, and it could, maybe it's one of these joint filers, right? It could be somebody has disclosed that you were a joint owner or a joint beneficiary of some trust, and they say, you know, we want to know about your holdings and your interests.
No, also there's pressure that's happening to, I mean, to foreign banks in general, right?
Oh yes, yeah. The IRS is all over them. The United States government's all over them. Safe havens in the past have been not only Switzerland, but Liechtenstein. Only got to say it right. It's Liechtenstein, and those guys used to be. You count on it, but the U.S. government's been all over them. The Austrian banks have been challenged, and the IRS just part of it's the Homeland Security thing too. They really want to scrub through where funds are being held, and again, there's this notion that people are cheating, and this is drug money, and so on and so forth. So they're not after these people that I've been talking about who transferred the assets for divorce or inherited the money and didn't disclose it or just made a mistake. And typically, they will limit the penalties to $10,000 if it's just a good old-fashioned mistake, and you really weren't trying to get away with something. But,
well, for a lot of us, 10,000 is still a big ouch.
Well, yeah, so, if it's for 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's 50 or 60,000.
Yeah.
And again, I had a fellow who, again, with 50,000 in the account, and he hadn't been disclosing it, wanted to do everything right, and the penalty could take the entire account. So
we have probably about 40 seconds left. Do you have maybe a final word of wisdom to throw out for our viewers?
File the disclosures. Beat up your CPA, ask them if there's some other form that you should be filing. Talk to your relatives, and don't think you're going to get away with anything in this particular area, and pay your taxes.
Yes. So compliance in this case can save you a lot of headaches. And I have one of these that I've been dealing with myself, and I have some very stubborn farmers that were involved, old-timers. And they don't know that they're just creating, you know, a very difficult situation for themselves.
Yep.
Well, folks, I hope that you found this somewhat enlightening. If you don't have this happening for you, it may be a relative. So anyway, be alert, and we'll see you next time on Financial Insider Weekly.